Alright, hello everybody and welcome back once again to Let's Play F1 Manager. Yes indeed, we are here. We are here at the Dutch Grand Prix after quite a successful race at Spa in Belgium. We of course had put a few little upgrades on our vehicles, yes, a new front wing, rear wing and a floor, and that's propelled us further away from the Mercedes and closer to the Red Bulls and the Ferraris. You might even argue that we might even be on a par with the Red Bulls, considering that we actually left them in our dust in Spa, but we'll see. We'll see what happens today. So here we are. I've done qualifying, I've done practice, we're going to dive into the race. I literally have a very short time period to be able to get the session up because I'm going out later. And I wasn't going to do anything today, but because I was feeling tired yesterday and didn't have time to record after I had my nap, this is what old age does to you folks, I decided that I will squeeze a session in today, which I didn't plan to do. So this is making up for yesterday's absence. So anyway, the less chit chat the better, because we've got things to do. So strategy is very simple here: mediums onto hards, one-stop race, quite clearly. Two stops. I don't know. I can't remember in real life. I didn't watch this race in real life. So I did. That's a lie. I did watch this race in real life last year. It was the one where the AlphaTauri spun off. Oh no, he did spin off. He went out without his seatbelts on when Hamilton was looking like he could well win the race, and brought a safety car, or a virtual safety car out, and Max got a cheaper pit stop. Miraculously. Sister team purposefully doing something? Nah, it's just a conspiracy theory. Anyway, so yeah, I think one stop is the way to go here, in short. So I've set everything up. You'll notice that our starting position on the grid is 8th and 7th. Now, that's not conducive to our performance last race, where we qualified higher up the grid. You'll be thinking, what's happened? Maybe the last race was a fluke. Why have you qualified 7th and 8th? This is where you qualified before your upgrades. What's happened? Well, basically what happened was the team forgot to put the proper engine, ERS and gearbox parts into the vehicles. Remember, when I do practice, I put all the old, worn-out stuff in the car so that we don't waste the new stuff. When it came to qualifying, good old Potter and team forgot to put the new stuff, or the proper racing and qualifying stuff, back in the car. So they qualified on knackered old engines, ERSs and gearboxes. So it's a miracle, given that we were using a gearbox on both of those cars that had less than like 10% left life left in them. It's a miracle we got into the Q3, to be honest with you, which in of itself is testament to our performance increase, that we can drive around with knackered mechanical parts and still manage to get into Q3. The reason why we're not 9th and 10th is because there's some grid penalties, because I aborted the laps for both those cars to see if we could put the engines and stuff in during Q3, which didn't make any sense because it's a long job, but I thought I'd try it out of desperation, and it wasn't a thing. So like, you know what, we're not going to even get above 9th and 10th here, so let's just leave it and just save the parts. They're already knackered. So yeah, 8th and 7th because of penalties, but other than that, yeah, we cocked up there. But that means that in the race we've got a little bit of drama, because we're going to have to pass a few cars to get onto the podium, which we're capable of doing now. We've seen that, and this track is more conducive to our strengths of the vehicle, because cornering is down as key, and we're good at cornering. We're the best at cornering, in fact. So in general terms. So yeah, let's dive into the race and see if we can make our way forward and indeed get onto the podium. Here it is, the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, recently introduced to the calendar about, what, 2-3 years ago now?
It's a bit of a cloudy day for the race.
Overtaking
the atmosphere
is a bit tricky here.
Is electric.
We'll see. No rain predicted. There was rain in qualifying as well, which helped us,
so there's plenty,
because that also offset a bit of performance.
It's the Dutch Grand Prix.
So here we are, the lights are on, the cars are on the grid, the McLarens are further down than they would like, but we're off! We're off and racing, and as per usual, we drive on board with our lead car for the opening corners of the lap. It's Lando Norris again, no surprise there, who is up into P7 it's up into P6. Keep on going, Sonny Jim. Let's keep on pushing down to the left-hand banked corner here, and he's looking up the inside of Verstappen. Verstappen, the homeboy here. And, well, Magnussen is now trying to push us off the damn track here. Look at him. He's not relenting, is he? Look at that. Come on, don't just hang it around the outside. Hang it around the outside.
P7.
Oh, look at Ricardo. Where's he sneaking off to? He's cut the corner. High drama here in the opening laps as Ricardo sneaks ahead of Lando Norris, who was busy battling. Oh, now he's ahead of... Oh, it's too much to...
McLaren with a
No,
great overtake.
I've pressed the wrong flipping button. I've pressed the wrong flipping... I was supposed to change the camera view. Just put it to 16 speed, you idiot. Right, okay, so anyway, where are we? Let's get a check. I'm going to take my preview screen off because it's very jittery. I don't think it affects the performance of the stream, but it's off-putting. So I can no longer see the timings and stuff, but who needs to? So, yes, here we are. Just skipped it briefly. Ricardo is up into P5. Looks like he's just passed Verstappen. Norris is in P7, going up the inside of this banked corner. And is down into the pit straight. No DRS, of course, at this moment in time, but look at this. 3 abreast going down into the first corner. Up the inside. Oh, it's tight, but it looks like we may be making a move here. And yes.
Yeah, nice job.
And Ricardo is now battling with Alonso around the outside there. It's action stations in his opening laps here as the McLarens, with their pace, with their pushing, making their way through the field. It's rare that Ricardo gets a sniff in the race ahead of Norris, but today he is on a mission. Ricardo up into P4. We've got Norris sandwiched between Alonso, the veteran, and Verstappen, the young champion. As we continue round here, it's right on board with Norris as he's now making a move past. So we're going to just start to focus on just reducing some of this pushing. I can reduce this now, but we'll keep the pushing on a little bit longer till we get past Alonso, hopefully around the inside of this turn, and around to the outside. It's looking like we've made it stick, but not quite, until we get to this next right-hander. Still pushing with Norris as we come round the final few corners. The banked long right-hander leading onto the pit straight, and that's Lando Norris up into P5. Look at that. DRS is enabled. We'll have to keep him on push whilst Alonso's got the DRS open. And now we shall go into our kind of rhythm, our routine.
Just be careful with
and
this time.
hopefully, yeah, we'll just settle into a nice little race pace. Russell rather, in the Mercedes on softer tyres here. Look at that, soft tyres for the Mercedes. And for Sainz too. Interesting strategy. Not saying it's a bad strategy, but it's an interesting one. And that's probably why Russell's got a little bit more speed than he would usually have, because Hamilton's way back then in the lower reaches here. Don't know exactly why, but I can't remember if he took penalties. Maybe. He didn't get eliminated from Q1 or Q2, so this must be penalty related, taking it probably engine penalties there. But yeah, this is why Russell is probably doing quite well. Softer compound tyres, quicker tyres, but they'll fall away quicker. So at some point in the race, if we're not already, we will be quicker than Russell when that kind of the old tyre degradation kicks in. But we have DRS open right now, in fact, with Ricardo. But this pit straight isn't particularly long. Passing in the rest of this track is tricky, although our drivers have done a pretty good job of passing other cars so far. As let's have a look at the gap to Alonso. It's 0.8. It's looking pretty comfortable, to be fair. Looking pretty comfortable. Alonso just dropping back to less than to more than a second, which means that he won't get DRS on the next lap, which will really hamper him. If only in his defence of Max Verstappen, but if the longer he can hold up Verstappen, who could well be a threat to passing us, or maybe not, as the case may be, depending on the speed of this Red Bull round here. The Ferraris, of course, still the team to beat. They seem to have had a decent development through this season. They've definitely made themselves out as the true fastest car this season. The Red Bulls have fallen away from the Ferraris at the back end of this season. Perez down in 12th even. Verstappen struggling to keep pace over the past couple of races. So the summer break rather not being very kind, it seems, to the Red Bulls. Either that or it's just been super kind to the Ferraris. As Verstappen with DRS open, yeah, the straight is not long enough to make a move on Alonso. This could be a long race for Mr. Verstappen as Norris is on the back of Ricciardo. And we aren't going to differentiate here. The driver that is behind is not allowed to tackle his teammate. This is a rule that was implemented and shall henceforth be known as the Red Bull Ring Rule for the McLaren team. The Red Bull Ring Rule, what's that? Charles Leclerc says as he comes into the team. Well, the Red Bull Ring Rule, Leclerc, is if you are behind your teammate on the track when it comes to the stable phase of the race, not in the first few laps, we allow them to jockey for position, but when we get to a stable phase, thou shalt not pass the teammate that's ahead. And certainly should not drive into the back of them and take them out. Okay. If thou defies that order, thou shalt find themselves without a job. Just saying. So anyway, it's a long race this one, it's 72 laps. The lap times are about 1 minute. Well, we're about to see, aren't we? I think they're about 1 minute 13-ish? 15, not far off. It was 1:30 in qualifying. Slightly longer in the race, of course. So, yes, I'm getting loads of messages, so bear with me. Okay, it's just football messages. I'm not going to football today because I'm going elsewhere. I have to play some tabletop games. I have to play BattleTech. Is it BattleTech? BattleTech? It's BattleTech. That's what I'm doing today. So, as we are on lap 6, we're just kind of sticking with Russell, who's falling away from the Ferraris. I do wonder if actually we have the pace, but we just can't pass here, because I reckon we'd be able to keep pace with the Ferraris a bit better than this, had we had a bit of clear air. We are still within the DRS range of Russell. I think he's slowing us down. But then again, as I said, this track is a difficult one to pass on, and it's proving to be the case. Certainly not the track to take engine penalties. And I did debate at the start of this session as to whether or not I was going to take penalties, because the next race is Monza, which is not necessarily a race that we're going to be really, really good at, considering it's a very high speed, the highest speed circuit on the track. So, yeah. I don't think we're going to be bad, but compared to tracks with lots of turns where we specialise in, we're not going to be as good there as other tracks. But it is a track that isn't necessarily difficult to overtake on. DRS will be very, very powerful there. There's opportunities to pass into a couple of chicanes, so there's good chances to pass. So if we give our drivers brand new engine, ERS and gearbox, we'll start at the back of the grid. It could be fun watching our cars scythe through the field, and having brand new parts will hopefully offset that little bit of a top speed and acceleration deficit that we have, just by having simply brand new parts that will be, full horsepower, full performance. But our goal is to finish third in the constructors. We're looking quite comfortable at achieving that. So, although it would be nice to have some new parts to play with, I don't think we need them to get third. If we wanted to push and get second, maybe. But we're not that fussed about getting second, to be honest with you. Our setup is about getting to next season with the best car possible. Charles Leclerc, getting him is going to cost us a lot of money, so we need some in the bank for that. So, I think we're just going to continue as we are this season. We might have to get a gearbox with Lando because he had one destroyed, so we might not have a choice there. But ultimately, I want to try and finish the season with the allotted allowance of engines, gearboxes, and ERS parts, and hopefully get third place. And then next season, when we're hopefully going for the championship, all goes well, then we can start to consider taking new parts at this stage of the season. If, for example, it's going to get us a little edge in performance to really, you know, do the business, if you will. So anyway, we've driven around on board with Daniel whilst I've been wittering away, and as you've seen, he hasn't really been making a lot of headway into Russell. Just can't pass. We're pulling away. We were pulling away from Alonso, but I didn't realise that Verstappen has actually passed Alonso. And if we look at the last lap times, is he gaining on us? No. 1:15.3 in clear air, unless he's just literally passed Alonso that lap. It's actually slower than our last laps, even though we're held up behind Russell here. So we'll see what he gets when he gets this clear lap. To see whether he's making a gain, although we could check the interval, and the interval was 2.6, is now 2.5, so maybe he is beginning to close and clear it. I think he may have passed Alonso that lap, which has slowed him down a little smidgen. But that's not good news for us, because he'll soon be on the back of us. Russell is definitely slowing us up. I mean, I could try with Ricciardo to give him some pushing. I might give this a whirl. 2.5, he's not gaining massively, is he? Right, we're going to set up a move on Russell. And this is true to real life F1 as well, by the way, in that, you know, to pass a car, it's not quite as simple as let's just put our foot down. It takes a bit of setting up. So part of the setup will initially to get as close to Russell as possible before we get to the DRS zone. There's only one DRS zone here, I believe. So we'll give him full pushing to get him as close as possible, so that when we get the slingshot off the last corner, we hopefully will make a lunge. We're a little bit out of our magic juice, our ERS, but we'll see what happens here. So giving Ricciardo the order to push like mad, no lift and coast now, full acceleration, full cornering, don't even think about preserving your tyres, buddy. Get yourself right onto the gearbox of that Mercedes and pass him before the DRS straight, because why bother wasting time?
Okay, well done.
Okay, and then push further when
Stay close.
Push further just to defend against the DRS that Russell will get temporarily, which will not be enough to pass Ricciardo. And Ricciardo has now made that move stick and will hopefully cruise off into the distance, as we now look at Lando Norris to do the same thing, as Ricciardo posts the fastest lap of the race whilst overtaking a vehicle, which is definitely a good sign. And now we'll see how he fares with Leclerc. I don't think we're going to gain on the Ferraris here, but you never know. Russell is actually keeping up with Daniel, which is going to make Norris's life quite difficult to pass Russell, because Russell will get DRS in defence. But hey, we may get Russell before the DRS, just like we did with Ricciardo. Lando, if you've just seen... oh, there's a DRS zone here! So there is two. So that's why we got Russell on the last lap. We actually got DRS at that bit and passed him. I didn't realise. I thought there was just the one DRS on here. Right, so we'll have DRS down this straight, which is fine, but so will Russell, which is not quite so fine, because it means that he's going to be able to defend against us. So what we're going to do is we'll give it another shot. One last shot on this lap with full pushing, and then we're going to have to turn him down. We have to turn him down, turn all of his buttons down, all of his juice down. I'm quite surprised at how quick Russell is in this race. I know he's got softer tyres on, but we're all pulling away from a Red Bull here, which is pretty decent. I wonder if Mercedes have bought an upgrade. Yeah, we bought new floor, new wing, and new front and rear wing as well, actually. Oh, have you? Good for you. I don't think they have. I just think it's the soft tyres. But clearly, maybe this track suits their car as well. It's quite twisty and turny. Maybe they're good at cornering too. Yeah, we're not passing him, are we? Let's be honest. I think we need to get out of the... What we could really do with doing to make this move work more effectively
Just be careful with this tyre.
is push Daniel again to create a gap so that Daniel pulls out of the DRS range of Russell, so that Russell can't use it to defend against Norris. So we'll push with Daniel, get away from Russell. Russell's got DRS down this straight, but we'll pull away down, hopefully through the twisty sections now. And when that gap goes to more than a second, which it should do if we're pushing, then Russell won't get that defensive mechanism against Norris, and we can then hopefully leapfrog him with both our cars and yeah, get ourselves nice and set in third and fourth, which is exactly where we finished in Spa, where we expect to finish today, as we are a second ahead now before the DRS of the straight here. So that's good. Just keep pushing him a little bit longer, and look at that. Beautiful. Well done, Daniel. You've done what we've asked of you. Now we switch to Lando Norris, who is already battling with Russell here. Just before I even got to the shot, Lando is like, I'm not waiting around. Get the flipping hell out of my way, buddy. Look at that. He's up the inside here. Where's the detection point? You don't want to be crossing the detection point ahead of the Mercedes, otherwise he's going to get the DRS, you fool. Nope, we've got it, and we're already halfway past him, and we're now fully past him with DRS. That is the perfect way to use DRS if you can get it. If you can time it so that you're just passing the car before the detection line, it means that you get the DRS whilst you're passing the car. Whereas if you pass it too soon and they get it on you, then they're going to fight back, you see. So it was well timed by Mr. Norris, and then we're going to continue to push him to make that second gap to Russell. Russell's tyres, of course, will be dropping off a little bit worse than ours, 71% on the softs. The softs drop off lap time quicker than the mediums. I don't know by how much, because I didn't check the stats for this race. Safety car percentage, compound differences, no preparation done. Engine parts not changed for qualifying. I mean, talk about a slapdash approach. Don't be getting too big for your boots, Potter. Just because you had a good Spa, let's continue to be efficient, shall we? Anyway, we're a second away now as we fly down that straight. Russell does have DRS, so we can't have been... Yeah, we can't have been a second ahead by that detection point. And Norris, fastest lap of the race here. Right onto the back of his teammate, standard and balanced. We are a second ahead of Russell, who is 2.8 by... Yeah, I've said it, but I keep saying it, but I'm very surprised at just how much the Red Bull seem to have dropped off the pace as the season has gone on. Especially the past couple of races. I mean, he's struggling to catch a flipping Mercedes. I mean, I wish I could say that in real life now. I have said it for several years, so I can't really grumble. We've had some, dominant seasons with Mercedes, so, I can't say I've not had a good time since 2014. But, yeah, it's just strange. I mean, he is catching a little bit, but nothing major. Anyway, who cares? We just have got to focus on what we're doing. And what we're doing is maintaining third and fourth. Norris is not being allowed to push against his teammate. We're kind of just in a nice little routine and rhythm. The Ferraris are pulling away from us. We're pulling away from Russell. We're in a period of time now where we can pretty much go around at our leisure. We're pitting around about lap 31-ish. Maybe sooner with Lando. But yeah, so 2-speed definitely is going to be par for the course here, because it's quite a nice, steady little time of the race. I mean, we'll keep an eye on the gaps to see if anything looks like it's coming down quicker than we would like, but we're kind of just nice and steady. Nice and steady. Elsewhere in the field, we've got a little bit of a close race going on here as Perez is looking like, as we just sort of slow it down a little bit here, is on the soft tyres no less, is trying to make a move on Magnussen. Magnussen doesn't have DRS on Bottas, so I mean this should be pretty much a done deal if you ask me. But anyway, we've got an incident. It looks like it is either Stroll or Vettel. It's Vettel.
And that's the lockup.
He's locked
Here's
up.
the replay. So
And he's
this
gone
was the
off.
Aston Martin.
And he's parked his car in the
Oh
gravel.
dear. That's far wider than that.
Hopefully won't bring out a safety car. No, he's back on the track now. He's back on the track at the back of the field. As Perez has now passed Magnussen as we were looking at Vettel beaching his car up into P11 on soft tyres. How much life is he taking out of them? A fair bit. So these soft tyre... Oh, we've got an incident at Sector 1. An incident at Sector 1. What's happened now? Probably somebody running wide.
I think someone's run wide.
I'm not seeing any sort of timing issues here. So it looks like it's a running wide type of issue. But anyway, so that's that done. So Noda, Magnussen, we've got Hamilton cooped up on in 14th position on medium tyres, maybe with some new parts in his car due to the penalty there, but not making inroads. Kind of caught in the mire, really. Not the place to be at all, to be honest with you. But that's where he finds himself. So here we are, back with the two McLarens. So we've got Ferrari of Sainz a whopping 5 seconds ahead of his teammate, but simply because he's on soft tyres. So I was going to say, not sure what the strategy is if you're on soft tyres. Do you go from soft straight onto hard and then long hard stint? Considering that it's medium and then hard, and that only just gets you to the end, I'm thinking if you're on a soft tyre, you're going to have to make 2 stops, surely. Maybe, I don't know. So is Sainz and Russell on a 2-stop? We shall soon find out, I suppose, but it's going to be one to keep an eye on. So Leclerc might actually be laughing here. Like, yeah, you're on a 2-stop, mate. 2-stop's not going to work around here. I don't know why they put you on that, but I'm not going to complain. Ferrari splitting their strategies. This damn football group. I'm going to have to mute it, I do apologise. Gonna have to mute it. It's getting on my wires. Literally, it has just started. Is that your one? I forgot to get some. Sorry, right, where are we? Oh yes, I was saying Leclerc is going to look like he's sitting pretty in second. I think his strategy is going to be better than a potential 2-stop here, or even if it's a 1-stop. It's going to be a long stint on those hards. A lot of conservation will have to happen. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, another incident. It's Sector 1 again. It looks like it's another wide situation, nothing too major, nobody's stopped on the track.
I think we've had a car run wide.
That's Latifi. It's Latifi. Hamilton's still in 14th. Still struggling to pass Tsunoda. Yeah. Perez making his way towards the back of Bottas. Not at a particularly fast rate of knots, but nonetheless is getting there. Verstappen is slightly closing the gap here to Russell, now down to 1.6 seconds. Let's have a look at the relative lap times here to see how they're getting on. Verstappen's about 2/10 of a lap quicker, or less than 2/10 really, about 10.5 quicker than Russell, whose soft tyres are currently 58% live. So there you go. We'll put a bit of speed into the motions here, as Russell is just about still keeping up relatively decently with us, which doesn't bode well because Verstappen will be released when Russell pits. But hey, Don't forget, we are not pushing to the max, and we can push a little bit, at least, if we need to. But we don't right now. We're quite comfortable. Yeah. Still got another couple of steps to make up to catch up to the Ferraris, but I'm confident. I'm quietly confident that we can do that for next season. If Aston Martin can do it, we can do it, right? I believe we can. I mean, this is the kind of situation that being on 4-speed wouldn't be too much of a bad call, but I don't want to rush through the race just in case something happens. Hamilton is looking like he's passing Tsunoda. We have just missed it, but he has passed Tsunoda. We just saw it on the time. Oh, Tsunoda's just spitting. Talk about slap in the face. Well, I was pitting anyway, pal. So there. Thanks for that. Anyway. It's important that Norris does maintain that 1 second gap to Ricciardo, just like the slipping outside of it for a little while, but we do want him to be towed along if we can. And Russell now, his soft tyres are probably going off at this point as we now stretch our lead to 3.1. Hamilton 0.3 behind Magnussen. Of course, Magnussen doesn't have DRS to protect against this manoeuvre, and Hamilton with the DRS hangs it round the outside of the first corner. We'll have the inside now for the next corner. Should make it stick, does make it stick up into P12 as he starts to make a forward move with what we believe to be some brand new parts in his car. Verstappen closing that gap to Russell, almost within DRS range. Almost, but not quite, it seems. As we continue. It looks like is our back marker in the way here? Yes, it is. We're passing back markers already. It is a short lap after all, and that brings Verstappen into the DRS range of George Russell now. Ooh, slow this down a little bit and let's watch as this drama unfolds potentially. I mean, it's not really a drama, is it, when the car ahead of you is on a different strategy, I suppose, but well, it'd be nice to see an overtake on the track. I mean, as in, nice to see it rather than miss it. It wouldn't be nice to see a Red Bull passing on something. It'd stick in my throat. But, yeah. Okay, the gap is now back just about over a second, so Russell's got this under control, what am I saying? What am I talking about? I'm managing the tyres, I'm managing the gap, it's fine, I know what I'm doing. Leclerc is gaining on sights slightly, and I'm assuming that's because the soft tyres runners are beginning to just lose that little bit of performance now from their tyres. Or maybe it's because he's past the back marker. That could be it too. Me and my theories. Who am I trying to fool? Anyway. I'm not quite so sure when the best time to hire a driver is, because it would be quite nice to be able to negotiate a contract with Leclerc now for next season, but I think, and I might do it off camera on a test save, I think if you do arrange your contract with a driver, you arrange the contract and it starts straight away, unless you can specify when you want it to start, which would be nice if you could. So I think after this session and I finish recording, I'm just going to go into that negotiation and see what the position is, because if we can negotiate it now, this is kind of the time of the season, maybe even a bit sooner than this, but definitely by this time we should be starting to look for our driver lineups for next year. But so if we can stipulate in our contract negotiations that we want the contract to start the next season and not now, but still make the deal and sign the dotted lines so we've got it confirmed, that would be good. That would be very good indeed. We've got the money in the bank to do it, so it might be a good time to see if we can do it. Right before Monza. It won't, even if it's possible, I don't think he'd agree before Monza. It's only a week away. I think it might take a couple of weeks, but you never know. We'll see. Yeah. By the way, Ferrari driver going to the Ferrari's home race at Monza, potential champion, and we're snapping him up. I wonder if they'd cheer him or not. Would they cheer him? Would they boo him? I don't know. You traitor! He's seen the light. He knows the McLarens are going places. He's fearful that next season the Ferraris will be surpassed, so he's hedging his bets, as all good drivers do. You think there's a coincidence why certain drivers end up in the best cars sometimes ahead of schedule? Pot luck? Maybe. Is there a particular reason why Alonso went to Aston Martin when Aston Martin were finishing 9th on the grid? Did he have some insider knowledge that they were going to be a force to be reckoned with? Who knows? Who knows? Because I can't see Alonso enjoying driving around in the 9th fastest car at age of 41. So there must have been some insider knowledge there. They must have sold it to him somehow. But anyway, we're on lap 27 of 72. We're not even halfway through this race yet, but things are looking pretty stable. We're 4 seconds ahead of Russell as the lead driver on the soft tyres, Sainz, is making his pit stop. Can these hards last until the end? We're about to find out. It's going to be a long second stint, but it should be possible because, I mean, we're coming in not too many laps from here, so it's not as if the softs have lasted much shorter than the mediums, is it? Not really. So maybe they can make it to the end. Russell pitting now as well. That's released both Alonso and Verstappen. Verstappen not really making much of an impact on Russell anyway, so I don't really see this as a major problem. The major problem will be we've got a very, very, very fast Ferrari on brand new hard tyres coming behind us, so will no doubt be passing us as we start to I think just push a little bit. Nothing too major, but just a little bit of pushing to create the gap that we need now to have a comfortable pit stop strategy.
Maximum pace.
Put a bit more distance between us and Verstappen, so that we can pit nice and safely, nice and comfortably on lap 31, 32-ish. Bit of engine mode as well, or whatever, lift and coast reduction. It should be good. So yeah, Sainz coming up quite quickly. Got to be careful not to get tangled up with him, because clearly this is not our race. He's well ahead of us, technically speaking, so we don't want to be getting too bogged down with defending this position and losing time to the threat, which is Max Verstappen, really. The only threat at this point. I don't think Russell's going to be too much of a threat going forward. He's going to have to maintain and manage those tyres a little bit more than we will. Hamilton on the mediums is not doing too shabbily now. That has been released. He's catching up to the back of his teammate, who has pitted, so he's a pit stop behind. It's not good, but he got cooped up behind cars because his team took engine penalties on a track that's difficult to pass on, which is damn foolish. Good old AI. Right. Speaking of that, funny enough, there was an actual there was a patch released on the 6th of March, or the 7th of March. It might have even been yesterday, which updated 3 things. It wasn't an extensive set of patch notes, but one of the things that they adjusted was the ability of your cars to pass other vehicles on the wrong tyre.
That's a good lap. That's a good lap.
Your fastest lap? Until Sainz crossed the line, right behind us. Yeah, so passing cars on the wrong tyre type. So if they're on like dries and we're on wets and the track, or inters and the track is down, then we've seen it this season already. We struggle to overtake them. It's like running the faster tyre, just go round the car, and they get stuck behind them, and what do I do? Which is really frustrating. You have the same problem in qualifying when you're behind a back marker or somebody on an out lap and you're on a hot lap. You have the same issue. Don't know if it's fixed that. I don't think it has, because I'm sure it happened when I was qualifying yesterday for this. But it'd be nice if they could fix that too. Surely it would be the same kind of mechanic to fix that as it is to fix the same problem when it comes to different tyres. I don't know. But it'd be quite cool if they could fix it. Because that is a real annoyance in qualifying. In fact, it almost cost me getting through to Q2 in this race, in this qualifying session for this race. But thankfully it didn't. Okay, optimal pit window is open. We're going to go for ignore. We're going to bring Daniel in this lap onto a set of hard tyres. Off he will go, and then Lando will have to wait a lap. What? Oh, Norris is slipping 2 seconds behind Ricciardo here, which is a bit bizarre. And take him down to standard tyres and keep him pushing for a little bit longer. Take him down now as well. We're quite happy with the gap that we've got. Lots of people pitting. Potential undercuts here. Potential undercuts. We may have left this a lap too late, you know, because... no, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I... Can I cancel this? How do I cancel a pit stop? There was a way to cancel a pit stop and I've forgotten how to do it. More options. Retire car. Pit options. Pit lap. Oh, they're gonna be stacked. I didn't mean to do that. Replace the front wing? No. 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 Delay stop by 1 lap for Daniel. I'm kind of tempted to do that for Daniel then, because Daniel is on the better. It's got slightly better tyres. It might switch him around. I don't want to undercut our lead driver because that's really bad. But with a 2 second gap, would the undercut be that powerful on a short track? Probably not. So what we're going to do is, because we can't... Sorry, this is a right faff. Delay the stop by 1 lap for Daniel. Have Norris come in now. We can't delay him for whatever stupid reason. Or maybe we didn't actually pit him. Maybe we didn't pit him. So say pit this lap. And now see if we get the delay option. Oh, we didn't pit him, that's why. We didn't pit him. Okay, but we are pitting him now. We've changed plans.
So box now.
We're changing plans here.
I'm happy to box at the end.
Very good. Pitting this lap,
Confirm.
So hopefully we'll be out ahead of, comfortably out ahead of Verstappen. We'll see. As the Ferrari of Sainz thunders on by without too much of a fuss. Ricciardo is now pitting on this lap as Norris pits on this lap. Ricciardo pitting on the current lap that he's on.
And just remind you,
so let's see, where do we come out in the shake-up of things? Clearly we want to be ahead of Max Verstappen. Where is Max? He's just coming round the final corner now. He's tucked up behind Russell, so he didn't actually manage to pass Russell in the pit stops. Norris is out. Norris is out, and he is ahead of both Russell and Verstappen. Yeah, he's out. We kind of come out into the path of back markers here, but that's fine. So we've got a comfortable gap. That's 4 seconds. 4 seconds is the gap. Ah, that's very comfortable. Very comfortable. So Ricciardo is definitely pitting this lap. Definitely pitting. One last bit of pushing here.
Maximum pace, Daniel. Maximum pace.
Okay, understood.
And in he comes. He shouldn't be. He should still be ahead of Norris. I don't think the undercut is that powerful. To make up 2 seconds, maybe it is though. You never know, do you? Norris is coming around the final corner here. Boy, oh boy, this could be close. Nah, Daniel's out. Daniel's out of the pits. Daniel's out of the pits. Daniel's out of the pits, I think. He's out of the pits. Total pitting time, total stop time, stop completed. He's out of the pits. Norris. There we go, back into standard. And yeah, he's out of the pits. Ocon hasn't pitted yet.
Okay.
So he's still going a little bit longer. So we're behind Ocon, but he's gonna have to get out of our way soon enough when he comes in for his stop. So that'll free us up and put us. Yeah, we're still about 3 seconds behind Ricciardo. So the undercut definitely not as powerful on this track as it might be on some others. So yeah, very comfortable. So Ferrari 1, Ferrari 2. Leclerc has pitted, got less worn tyres than Sainz, but nonetheless still 4 seconds behind. Ricciardo is in third, comfortably in third, and Norris will be passing Ocon without us needing to do a great deal, to be honest. I think we'll be able to pass him without even having to manage this situation. Verstappen has managed to get past Russell here in and amongst the back marker, so he's up into P6. Ocon pits now, releasing Norris on the pit straight, and Verstappen on the straight too. So as we look at the gap, once it all evens out into the wash,
Ocon has also pitted.
5.2 seconds is where it's at. Let's see now how things pan out for Verstappen as we just put a little bit of speed on. I do think we're in a nice comfortable position, and if this gap doesn't look like it's going to come down anytime soon, and it looks like we've got him covered, then we might even take it to a slightly faster speed than this. I'm not the biggest fan of this track, to be fair, and I don't envisage any major dramas happening, given that we are kind of in a no man's land between the Ferraris and the Red Bull. Very similar to Spa again. We're in that kind of zone where we are comfortably the third, at this moment in time, comfortably the second fastest car. What am I saying? Which means that we find these little pockets of tranquility. Sector 2, we've got an incident. Verstappen! It's Verstappen!
Yellow flags.
Okay.
We can take a look now.
What's
And
happened?
here we see Max Verstappen.
Oh, he's dropped it in the corner. This is a bloody amateur mistake there from the current world champion, who's about to lose his world championships at this rate. Has made a blunder, trying to push and trying to catch those McLarens. Maybe put himself under a bit of pressure, and whoosh, off he's gone. He's now in P7. He's behind Alonso and Russell. His day has gone from bad to catastrophic. Not 16 speed, sorry, wrong way. Right, there we go, back to 2 speed. So now it's Russell, and we're much more comfortable with having Russell behind us than we are than having Norris. So even better, really. Quite surprised that Norris has been outpaced by Ricciardo. The only thing I can think of is that Norris's ERS is at 50%-ish, whereas Daniel's is at about 74%-ish. So is the ERS difference in wear that significant? Or is this just a race where Ricciardo actually is feeling more comfortable? Suits his driving style more, perhaps? I don't know, but Norris uncharacteristically is not as quick as Ricciardo. I mean, they're doing similar lap times, but the fact that we managed to pull out 2 seconds, 3 seconds in the first stint with Daniel says something, doesn't it? But let's not worry about such matters. It matters not who is third and fourth, as long as we are third and fourth. It's when both your drivers are squabbling for the title, that's when team orders really shouldn't play a part. You're fighting for the title, so go for it. But for now, it's all about the accumulation of points for the team. That's all it's about. Right, we're going to actually go up a speed here, unless there's anything major that I need to keep an eye on. Hamilton is on the back of his old teammate, good old Valtteri Bottas here, as Hamilton is looking to make a move around the inside of the left-hand banked corner. He does make it, but is he going to make it stick as they go side by side for large portions of this lap? One of them's going to have to give way eventually, and it's looking like Bottas has the upper hand until that corner, which is the inside line for Hamilton, and it looks like Hamilton has made it ahead of his old teammate there. A nice little bit of a squabble as Hamilton makes it up to P11 as his quest for points continues after a frustrating start. Stuck behind some of the slower drivers. But, okay, he's continuing. Let's see how his lap times. Is he gaining on the AlphaTauri of Gasly here? I don't think so. Maybe a little. No, I don't think. Nothing major. Okay, a little tinsy bit he's catching. 1.8, 1.8, 1.8, it's 1.9, it was 1.2, it was 2 seconds, now 1.7, 1. Yeah, he's catching, but not frighteningly quick, but nonetheless he is catching. So we'll check in with that a bit down the line. At the moment, just watching a lovely orange McLaren's just cruise around. Not a care in the world. I mean, technically speaking, we could probably afford to even turn the engine down or to increase the lift and coast so that we're not straining the parts quite so much. Considering that we've got to make them last to the end of the season because we're refusing to build new components to save some cash. 1.4. Yeah, it's quite comfy, isn't it? Okay. Let's see what happens. I don't think I've done this whilst recording or streaming, at least on camera. When I used to do this when I was doing the edited sessions. I'd do this between highlighted segments. Okay, so we've got Perez passing Ocon there. You just noticed we're coming up to the back marker of Mick Schumacher. We're pulling away from Russell here. Hamilton is now gained on the back of Gasly. We could take a look at that fight if we wished to do so, which we will. As Hamilton swoops from the outside of the back marker there. So yes, DRS is now open, and he's using it to good effect to gain on the AlphaTauri. We know now that there is a second dose of DRS on this lap, which will help close that gap even more. Will he pass Pierre Gasly? I'd suggest he should do. I don't see any reasons why not, and we've got plenty of life in the tyres, it's fine. So DRS, that's the second DRS zone. So now, last few corners, left-hand bank, right-hand bank, onto straight, DRS open. Is he going to pass? Doesn't look quite close enough to me. No, he's not. Going to have to try again. We'll follow this for a couple more laps. Will he have the legs to do it? I mean, if he's got new components in there, he should have the juice to do it, but we'll see. We shall see. Everything looking fine for our two drivers. Yeah, Lando's 2.6 behind Ricciardo. Made a little bit of gains there. Second DRS zone, nothing done. Right hand bank onto the straight. We try to go again. Still not looking close enough. No. So this is proving to be quite the challenge for Hamilton to get past. Quite the challenge indeed. Can he get... This is the last points paying position that he's fighting for. P10. 1 point up for grabs. DRS down this bit. Puts him in contention. Carry the pace through onto the final corner. Get close enough. Open the DRS right about now and power down the straight where it's still not quite close enough, but a little bit closer than previous laps. Tyre life. They have the same tyre life. We've got the best tyre life pretty much out of everybody, barring a couple of people, so we're doing very well on the tyres here because we've had no reason to push them. Just kind of in our own little space as Hamilton's here again. We've got some back markers coming up. This could be a chance to utilise those. He looks a bit closer now. He looks a bit closer visually. He is closer, but still can't make it go down the straight quick enough. Alright, okay, so still struggling. I do think that these back markers could play into Hamilton's hands if he can somehow do a Mika Hakkinen and pass a back marker and Gasly at the same time. There we go, DRS air. Look at that, he's all over the back of him like a rash now. He is absolutely harassing him, trying to force him into making a mistake. Of course, not physically force him, but just, you know, jinking, diving, trying to just feint. But Gasly is having none of it. He is maintaining that position. The back marker gets out of the way quite nicely. Another one up ahead. Our car's still very comfortable. Verstappen in P7. Gaining on Alonso, by the way. That could be worth a watch. Does he have any luck passing Alonso compared to Hamilton passing Gasly? Not on that lap. Let's have a look again here as Verstappen trying to make up for his slight blunder. DRS down this area gets him right onto the back of the gearbox of Alonso. There we go. Left, and then this long sweeping banked right onto the straight and power down. Sector 2, we have an incident. Nobody stopped there. Could be just another wide type situation. Lock up by Latifi. Good old Latifi. God bless you. So as we're seeing, and as I said at the start, passing here, not very simple, not the easiest of tracks to overtake on. Nonetheless, we have seen some overtaking, thankfully, from our drivers, mainly making their way from 8th and 7th on the grid to 3rd and 4th is pretty good going, as Alonso still maintains position. Hamilton still can't pass Gasly, and he's right on the back of him, but that top line speed isn't enough as Sonoda pits. Interesting. I was just wondering, are some of these soft tired runners going to pit again? But I do think that Sainz can make his tyres last to the end. Russell is in the same boat, of course. Perez is also in that same boat, and Hamilton, I don't think he was in that boat, but I think he's just pushing his tyres harder to trying to get past Gasly. And I've just realised that he has got past Gasly, in fact. Finally getting it done. It would have been nice to... we may have seen it on camera, but I was in Cloud Cuckoo land. Just not even paying attention. He got past. And Verstappen, however, isn't getting past Perez there. Still was looking at the tyre strategy, so I'm looking at the tyre screen. Anyway, Hamilton is passed. He's got 5.8 seconds to get to the back of Ocon. We've got an incident in sector 1. Nothing jumping out on the map.
Someone's run wide.
Just a serious incident. Therefore, it is just a little bit of an off or a running wide or a locking of tyres there, locking of brake. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so we are coming into the final stages of this race. Nothing major is going on. I don't think we're going to see Verstappen pass Alonso. We'll keep an eye on the timing screens just in case he does manage to do it. But all the while, it's giving Russell a very nice gap to Verstappen. Should Verstappen get past, clearly we are pulling away from Russell. Everything is looking pretty calm, and Leclerc is slowly gaining on Sainz. Fastest lap of the race here. We will check in with this towards the back end of the race if indeed it looks like it's going to transpire to be a last few lap fight out between the two championship leaders, because that could be the best drama we've had all day, barring the start when we got off to a decent one. Verstappen's still trying to pass Alonso. Alonso being stubborn as ever. Everybody else is quite spaced out though, so it is what it is here. A much more quiet affair this race than some of the previous ones we've had. But as long as we continue to get 3rd and 4th, behind the Ferraris, ahead of the Red Bulls, ahead of the Mercedes, then that's all good, because if we continue to do this, we may have an outside chance of sneaking 2nd place in the championship, which is almost like a poison chalice, because it's a little bit. We're not constructors champions, and we get less testing time. So is it a bit of a poison chalice? We get more money, I suppose. What's more valuable to us at this moment in time for next season, considering we're only doing 2 seasons? More money or more testing time? I think more money. Maybe. Or more, maybe more
Who's running wide there?
maybe more testing time would be better. Because we're going to be doing a lot of in-season development next season, so having that extra testing time to boost our parts could be more beneficial for a short-term save than just the pure hard cash. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, Leclerc is now 2.1 seconds behind Sainz. So today is Wednesday when you're seeing this, and in the north of England, and probably across all of England and Scotland and everywhere else, it's forecast for snow. Scotland have had snow already. North England, where I am, is forecast snow tonight into tomorrow. We had a slight dusting that didn't settle really. It was just a bit of a flurry of snow in the air earlier on, but it's looking like it's quite clear at the moment. I quite like snow because I can work from home. If it snows overnight and it's covered outside in the morning, I can just work from home. It's not a problem. So I can admire the lovely snow scenery from my bedroom, with the heating on in my dressing gown with a cup of coffee, whilst tinkering away on my keyboard, and it'd be quite pleasant. And I posted my the view from my window on the Discord server because I was showing my new windows and blinds recently, and the view that I've got here is pretty nice because because of how our street is. It's the highest street in this area because there's an incline to get up to our street, so our house is above all the houses out, so I'm looking out down upon all the other houses, so you get a pretty decent view. So when it snows, you get a lovely view of all the snow-topped roofs and everything. It's really nice. But anyway, we've got 6 laps to go, and what is happening here is that Leclerc is indeed gaining on his teammate. We're still as we were. Nothing dramatic there. Russell clear of Alonso, who still is holding off Verstappen. Perez has caught up to the back of that little train, but won't be making any inroads, we don't think. Ocon is also coming to the back of that train, so Alonso is holding them up a touch. Hamilton has slightly gained on Ocon, but nowhere near quick enough to do anything by the end of this race, we think. So the only drama that we might get towards the back end of this race is either if Verstappen starts to make a late lunge on Alonso, or if Leclerc passes his teammate going into the final few laps of this race. We're going to put it on 2 speed so we can see the view, but I don't think Leclerc's going to have the outright pace. I think, as we've seen, to pass on this track, you've got to be seriously faster than the car ahead of you. And given that they're both on similar same tyres with similar wear, same car, is Leclerc really going to make a move on Sainz that sticks? Given that we've seen the likes of Hamilton stuck behind Gasly, Verstappen stuck behind Alonso, probably not. But I mean, the gap now is half a second. Sainz is struggling to lap Tsunoda here. Is it Tsunoda? No. Who's he struggling? It's not Gasly, is it? Oh, he's lapping Gasly. He's lapping P11 at the moment. Next up on his list is Hamilton. He's going to be lapping Hamilton soon. Leclerc might have a bit of an easier time because he's passing on the straight. So straight past he goes. And he's going to have DRS on Sainz. Down the straight now. So the Ferraris, just like in France, are literally in the closing stages of the race, battling for race victory. Battling for the championship. So this could get tasty. 4 laps remaining as we cross the line with Ricciardo and Norris just tootling on by. But this is the cause of our action now for the dying embers of this race. We're not going to cut away from this one. It is Sainz, Leclerc battling in the Ferraris, battling in the championship too. Will he be able to do it? Let's have a look at the tyre situation. Slightly better tyres, but not significantly better that it's going to be a significant disadvantage to Sainz, I don't think. But nonetheless, 2/10 is that gap. 2/10 coming out of that DRS zone. Round the final corner. Powering down the straight. DRS open as we ride on board now. As Sainz jinks right to defend. As Leclerc powers down with that extra speed because of the DRS rear wing opening. And still is in P2. 3 laps to go, including this one. The track rubber and track gripper as high as they're going to get. The fuel loads have
3 laps to go.
dissipated. These cars will be feeling light and nimble right now, despite the fact that the tyres are probably a little bit worn. 30% when the tyres drop off the cliff. I think Sainz will just about make it to the end before they get to that state. But if they do get to that state, that could be a significant disadvantage going into the last lap. But we'll see. We'll maintain this gap. We'll maintain this view. We'll see what's happening with the tyres. As Leclerc, he's looking for any opportunity. Any slight snatched break. Any lock-up. He'll be on it like a rash. Powering out of the final corner once again. DRS opens. Sainz is not feeling the need to defend to the right this time. Look at the speed differential. Will he make a lunge up the inside? He's going for it. He's going for it, folks. He's made a lunge up the inside. The championship leader has just passed Carlos Sainz with an audacious lunge up the inside of the first corner. Sainz a bit lackadaisy there, not defending
2 laps to go.
that line. He didn't jink out this time. Did that cost him? He's now in P2 on the back of Leclerc. Is that a byproduct of the tyre wear? Could be. But Leclerc, the championship leader, has passed his teammate. At one point was 5 seconds behind, but he's been catching, and now he has made it past. That soft tyre strategy that Sainz was on looked dubious. Clearly he can get to the end on the hards, but I did say it was going to be a long stint on that hard tyre, and that could well be what's cost Sainz in the end. Leclerc is pulling away. Sainz, of course, has got the DRS down the straight, but I don't think he's got the traction with the tyres. The tyre wear is significant. As we approach now, we're on the final lap. There's no way I can see Sainz pulling this off at this point. And he's probably going to be spitting feathers after this race. Because,
This is the last lap.
He's been pipped at the post. Absolutely pipped at the post. Verstappen still behind Alonso. Perez, Ocon now. Hamilton. Yeah, it's been a race of not too many changes of position. It's been very comfortable for us. A nice flurry at the start of activity, but the main action really has come at the end, just like in France, really. But the Ferraris have been in a class of their own today. We were much closer to them in Spa. I thought we were going to do better here because this track seemed to suit our car because it's got more corners than Spa. But nonetheless, we're 18 seconds back. So close in Spa, yet so far away here. Interesting. But there you go. Leclerc and Sainz have crossed the line, pretty much line astern. As Ricciardo coming up to the last corner now. He has been the lead McLaren for pretty much all of this race. Norris,
That's the checkered flag.
coming home in fourth.
Alrighty. Cheers, guys.
Probably will be disappointed.
Good job.
It's never good being beaten by your teammate, is it?
ACS off and H4-1.
Never good being beaten by your teammate. That's the true yardstick of any Formula One driver. Because technically speaking, same car, same equipment as your teammate, and therefore that is the true test of your skill. If you're getting beaten by your
Good
teammate,
job, mate. Very well controlled race. That.
not good, is it? But anyway, there you go. That is the conclusion of the Dutch Grand Prix as Daniel Ricciardo gets onto the podium again for the 3rd time this season. Maybe 4th? Anyway, he's done a damn good job. But here's our winner and fastest lap, a 1:12.7. We weren't far off that, 1:12.8 for both of our drivers there. It's just that we can't keep that sort of pace up for too long. But nonetheless, a very strong performance by us once again. But those Ferraris just still that step ahead. But we, in my view, and you've seen the past 2 races with your own eyes now, I think we've got the 2nd fastest car. I think what's happened, and the Red Bulls have just gone off, badly off. I don't know what's happened. Getting beaten by a Mercedes today, for heaven's sake. I mean, that's clearly off, isn't it? And an Alpine. But anyway, there's your classifications. Lewis Hamilton making up 10 places, the main mover there. But yeah, Drivers' Championship, Charles Leclerc pulls away a little bit more. 25 points is the gap. That's a race victory. That's a nice lead to have in your back pocket coming up to the last sort of, 5-6 races of the season. Nice to have that indeed. Max Verstappen in 3rd, Daniel Ricciardo moving ahead of Sergio Perez, and Lando Norris is also gaining on Sergio Perez, but yeah, finishing ahead of Red Bull in the Drivers' Championship would be quite an achievement. Lewis Hamilton dropping a place as Lando Norris overtakes him now. What does that say for the constructors? It says McLaren gain by 17 points on Red Bull. 61 points. It's probably going to be very close if we continue this kind of pace compared to Red Bull, but I still think it's a bit of a pipe dream at the moment, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. But well, as I said before in the last session, we're now looking forwards. We're not looking behind us. We've got Mercedes covered off here. We really do. So there we go, a development point for Mr. Ricciardo. And let's have a look at what the emails are saying. There was a rule change vote, so we will continue on to the next. It's a financial change. So you get technical change, you get financial change, you get sporting change. I think you get three rule proposals in the season. So now we're looking at the financial regs. In order to encourage excellence on the grid, we suggest a change to season prize money amounts that favours better performing teams. So basically, they're giving the better performing teams more money, and the lower performing teams less money, and 10th team gets the same. We're going to vote for this change because we're one of the top teams and we're selfish, okay? And this will take effect next season. So this won't affect us. This won't affect this season's prize money. It'll affect next season's. And we're only doing 2 seasons, so this won't really matter to us. But if I was to continue the save off camera, then it clearly would give us more money next season, should we finish first or second, which is our aim for next season, by the way. Of course, is to finish first, but top 2 definitely. So we'll see how that rule change takes effect in terms of the voting in the upcoming session or 2. This is a reset of our ATR period, which means any further research that we put into the next season's rear wing and any subsequent parts that we might build, such as the chassis or the side pod and stuff, we could use an allowance. My thinking is side pods, chassis, suspension, not important parts for our car as per our vision. Therefore, I won't waste CFD and wind tunnel time. What I will do is put all of that testing time, all of it, into researching the rear wing to offset the technical reg change, and that should really boost our rear wing for next season, and offset that dip in expertise that will suffer due to the change. So that's what I think I'm going to do. All of them points into one bit of research, which we can't do it just yet, but we will, because we've still got projects on the go. So we'll soon as we get that gap, once basically in 18 days really, as soon as the rear wing project is done first, rear wing research, full testing, allocation into that, and once these other 2s are done, we'll do a couple of we'll do a suspension and a side pod or something, or a suspension and a chassis or whatever, with the remaining 2 slots. But yeah, that's the kind of development plan for the car for next season, and that's pretty much it until we skip the time and go to the 3rd race of the triple header. We've got to do some upgrading of the or refurbishing of the facilities, but here we are. This is the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza, again on the calendar since 1950. It's the fastest race on the calendar in terms of average speed, and we have a potential for rain in the race. Now that could cause a bit of spiciness, couldn't it? Oh, looking forward to that. So even if we don't have the best car for top speed, etc., the rain may mix things up. Could a race victory be on the cards with some true Potter strategy? Find out next time. But until then, it's a buoyant McLaren team signing off once again. Till next time, I'll see you soon.